Ever wonder which sushi chains are so bad you should avoid them at all costs, and which two are actually worth it? Picture sitting down hungry, only to be served limp rolls, warm fish, or rice that tastes like paste. But what if the biggest surprises aren't where you'd expect, and maybe even your favorite spot is on the chopping block? Let's kick things off with a chain that serves more shrink-wrapped disappointment than fresh flavor: Sushi Factory Express. Picture this. You are walking through the mall, stomach growling, and you see a bright neon sign promising fresh sushi at lightning speed. The menu boards look tempting, the prices seem friendly, and for a second you convince yourself this might just hit the spot. Then your tray arrives and the illusion cracks. The rolls come wrapped tighter than leftovers from a gas station cooler. Peel away the plastic and you are met with rice that tastes like cold glue and fish that has been waiting all afternoon to be noticed. The problem with Sushi Factory Express is right in the name: the obsession with speed over substance. Sushi is supposed to be about balance. Soft rice seasoned with vinegar, fish that tastes clean and delicate, and presentation that feels respectful. Instead, these rolls feel mass-produced, rushed, and robbed of any soul. Each bite reminds you less of Japan and more of a vending machine at a rest stop. Quality-wise, it is easy to see why. Chains like this cut corners to keep prices low. The fish is frozen, thawed, and portioned in bulk, which robs it of texture and flavor. The rice is cooked in enormous batches and left sitting for hours, so by the time you eat it, it is stiff and bland. Add in vegetables that have lost their crunch and soy sauce packets that taste like pure salt, and you end up with food that only looks like sushi from a distance. Price-wise, yes, it is cheap. You can grab a roll for $5 to $8, and that can feel like a steal. But here is the catch. Cheap sushi is not value when it leaves you with regret. You are paying less with your wallet, but more with your appetite. After finishing a roll, you might still feel hungry, unsatisfied, and maybe even a little cheated. Can it be saved? Only if you drown it in spicy mayo or douse it in wasabi until your tongue is too distracted to notice. But if the only way to enjoy a roll is to hide its flavor, was it ever worth ordering in the first place? The truth is, Sushi Factory Express gives sushi a bad name by teaching newcomers that this is what sushi should taste like. And that might be the biggest tragedy of all. So next time you pass one of these spots glowing at the edge of a food court, ask yourself, do you want sushi or do you want disappointment wrapped in plastic? Have you ever been let down by sushi that looked fresh but tasted like it came from the back of a freezer? Sliding into the list is the sleek-looking spot that fools you with style but flunks on taste: Ocean Samurai Grill. At first glance, Ocean Samurai Grill seems like the real deal. The name conjures up visions of sharp knives, precision, and artistry. Walk inside and you will see polished wood, stylish lighting, and chefs in headbands putting on a show behind the counter. But wait until your plate hits the table and the cracks start to show. The fish tastes oddly warm, the tempura has gone limp before it reaches your chopsticks, and the whole experience feels like a costume play where the performance outshines the flavor. The core issue here is simple. Ocean Samurai Grill invests heavily in the look, but skimps on the product. The rice is often under-seasoned, leaving it closer to plain white grains than proper sushi rice. The fish is served at the wrong temperature, which immediately kills the freshness factor. Sushi should feel cool, clean, and refreshing, not lukewarm or rubbery. Even the tempura, which could be a saving grace, comes out greasy and soggy instead of crisp and golden. The saddest part? You are paying premium prices for this letdown. Rolls often range from $12 to $15, and specialty platters can run even higher. For that kind of money, diners expect a sushi experience that feels at least somewhat authentic, not a bait-and-switch where presentation takes the lead and flavor is left behind. And sure, the menu is wide. Dozens of rolls with exotic names, some packed with cream cheese, fried shrimp, and every sauce in the book. But more is not always better. Too many toppings mask the flaws, and instead of sushi, you are basically eating a confused pile of rice and condiments. It is sushi theater, not sushi tradition. The atmosphere almost convinces you that you are getting your money's worth. You might even post a photo on social media because, yes, it looks good under the lights. But taste is where reality sets in, and for sushi, that is the only place that matters. So here's the takeaway. Ocean Samurai Grill is like a blockbuster movie with dazzling visuals and a paper-thin plot. You will walk out entertained but hungry for something real. Have you ever gone to a restaurant that looked amazing, but left you wishing you had just gone somewhere simple instead? On deck now, the buffet that piles your plate high with regret instead of quality, Tokyo Go Buffet. Buffets have always been a gamble, and Tokyo Go Buffet proves why. The promise is endless sushi, mountains of rolls, and a chance to eat until you cannot move. For a hungry diner, that sounds like a dream. But here's the reality. The dream quickly turns into a stomachache, because the focus on all you can eat means nobody is paying attention to how any of it tastes. Step into one of these buffets and you will see trays lined with rainbow rolls, California rolls, fried rolls, and rolls stuffed with who knows what. The rice is cold and clumpy, the fish is cut so thin it is practically transparent, and sauces are dumped on top like someone is trying to hide the evidence. The sheer quantity might impress you at first, but one bite tells you the quality is sacrificed at every step. The problem is built into the system. Buffets need to make money, which means they buy fish in bulk and serve it in ways that stretch every last ounce. That is why you will find rolls loaded with cucumber, cream cheese, or fried batter, but barely a sliver of tuna or salmon. The seafood that is present often tastes like it has been sitting out for too long, losing its freshness by the hour. Value is supposed to be the appeal here. You might pay $20 to $25 for all you can eat, and on paper that sounds unbeatable. But think about what you are trading. Instead of one roll made with care, you are eating 5 rolls made with indifference. Instead of savoring each bite, you are shoveling in as much as possible to justify the price. That is not sushi, that is self-sabotage. To be fair, buffets can have their place. They are fun with friends, they fill you up, and sometimes they introduce newcomers to sushi. But they are the wrong place to look for quality. When the rice is stale, the fish is tasteless, and the rolls are all variations of the same bland template. What you gain in quantity, you lose in joy. At the end of the day, Tokyo Go Buffet is proof that more is not better. A mountain of mediocrity will never replace a single plate of sushi made with care. Would you rather have endless plates of mediocre sushi, or one perfect roll that makes you smile with every bite? Coming in next is the picture-perfect fraud where Instagram wins but your taste buds lose. Rolls Nation. From the outside, Rolls Nation looks like a dream. Neon signs, trendy music, and rolls so colorful they practically beg for a photo. You see people snapping pictures from every angle, and it is hard not to think, wow, this must be amazing. Then you take a bite, and the truth comes crashing down. The rice is mushy, the fish has no flavor, and the sauces cover everything like someone hit the panic button in the kitchen. The problem with Rolls Nation is that it was built for likes, not bites. Every roll on the menu looks like a rainbow, with toppings stacked higher than a birthday cake. They drizzle spicy mayo and eel sauce in zigzags, pile on tempura flakes, and sprinkle sesame seeds like confetti. It is sushi designed for show, not for satisfaction. Underneath all that decoration, the basics are missing. The rice is poorly seasoned, the fish is often watery, and the textures clash in ways that make every bite a mess. Let us be real. Good sushi is simple. It is about balance. A soft bite of rice, a slice of fish, maybe 1 or 2 accents to tie it together. At Rolls Nation, simplicity does not exist. Instead, you get rolls with cream cheese, jalapenos, fried shrimp, and 6 different sauces fighting for attention. The first bite might seem fun, but by the third, your palate is exhausted and you are wondering if you are eating sushi or a dare. Price-wise, Rolls Nation is not shy. Expect to pay $12 to $18 for one of their specialty rolls. That is a hefty price for something that tastes more like a sugar rush than sushi. Sure, you might get a flashy photo for your social feed, but your stomach will not be thanking you afterward. To be fair, Rolls Nation does succeed at one thing: marketing. They know how to draw in crowds with bright colors and big promises. But once you have been tricked, it is hard to forgive. Food should not just look good, it should make you want to come back again. At Rolls Nation, most people leave with a pretty photo and a note to themselves not to return. So yes, Rolls Nation is proof that not everything picture perfect is worth eating. And sometimes the most beautiful food is also the most disappointing. Have you ever ordered something just because it looked amazing, only to regret it the second you tasted it? Let's talk about the ninja act that disappears your expectations with every bland bite. Ninja Sushi Spot. The name promises mystery, stealth, and skill. You expect sharp knives slicing fresh fish, rolls assembled with precision, and flavors that strike with surprise. Instead, what you get feels like the opposite of a ninja. Clumsy, slow, and utterly forgettable. From watery miso soup to rolls that taste like plain rice with a side of disappointment, Ninja Sushi Spot is a misstep from start to finish. The main problem is consistency, or rather, the lack of it. One day the rice is undercooked and hard, the next day it is sticky and bland. The fish is never the highlight, it often arrives dull in color, lacking the brightness you want in fresh salmon or tuna. And do not get me started on the rolls. They fall apart the second you pick them up, leaving soy sauce-stained rice floating in your dish. Restaurants with names like Ninja Sushi Spot often lean heavily on gimmicks. Servers might shout greetings, the decor might feature paper lanterns, and the menus might be filled with rolls with names like Dragonfire or Samurai Slam. But when the food does not deliver, the show cannot save it. If the rice and fish are not right, the rest is just window dressing. Price-wise, Ninja Sushi Spot lures people in with mid-range costs. Rolls hover around $10 to $13, and combination plates can reach $20. It is not dirt cheap, but not premium either, which makes the poor quality even harder to swallow. You are left feeling like you paid too much for food that tastes like practice sushi, not the real deal. What makes this spot especially frustrating is the wasted potential. Sushi does not need to be fancy to be good. A simple roll, fresh fish, and well-cooked rice could turn Ninja Sushi Spot into a neighborhood favorite. But when every element feels rushed or overlooked, the whole dining experience falls apart. So the next time you see a name that promises stealth and skill, remember, even a ninja can miss the mark. Have you ever been tricked by a restaurant name that sounded impressive but turned out to be anything but? Making its way onto our caution list is the chain that goes big on size but small on flavor, Big Tuna Shack. The very name suggests a feast. Massive tuna steaks, rolls stuffed with thick cuts of fish, and portions that leave you happily stuffed. And yes, when the plate arrives, it certainly looks big. But the moment you take a bite, you realize size is the only thing it has going for it. The tuna tastes watery, the rice is overcooked, and the rolls are heavy in a way that drags down the entire meal. Big Tuna Shack thrives on portions. They load rolls with oversized pieces of tuna that look impressive on a plate. But bigger does not mean better. Sushi works best in balance, when the rice, fish, and seasonings create harmony. When the balance is off, every bite feels like a chore instead of a treat. It is like chewing through a giant sandwich where the bread is stale and the filling has no spark. Here, the fish overpowers everything else, and not in a good way. Without freshness and flavor, all you get is a mouthful of texture with nothing behind it. The rice does not help either. It is often overcooked and sticky, clumping together like paste. Sushi rice should be fluffy yet firm, each grain distinct and seasoned lightly with vinegar. At Big Tuna Shack, the rice feels more like glue holding the tuna in place. Add in vegetables that lack crunch and sauces poured with a heavy hand, and the result is a roll that fills you up but never satisfies. Price-wise, the portions might make you think you are getting a deal. Rolls often cost between $12 and $16, and the sheer size can make diners believe they are getting value. But eating more of something bad does not turn it into something good. It is like being given a gallon of weak lemonade when all you wanted was one glass of the real thing. The atmosphere is often loud and chaotic too, which makes the experience less about enjoying sushi and more about trying to finish what is on your plate. And when the food itself feels like a challenge instead of a treat, the dining experience quickly turns into a chore. So here's the truth. Big Tuna Shack proves that bigger is not always better. Sometimes a smaller, fresher bite is worth more than a plate, piled high with bland fish and gluey rice. Would you rather have one small piece of perfect sushi or an endless roll that fills you up without giving you joy? Rushing in at high speed but leaving your palate behind is the microwave masquerade, Shogun Express Sushi. The name alone makes you picture sharp swords, lightning-fast knife skills, and sushi that feels like it was prepared with precision and power. But the reality is far less exciting. Shogun Express Sushi is not about artistry, it is about speed. Walk into one of these spots and you can order, pay, and have food in front of you in under 10 minutes. That sounds convenient, but sushi is not meant to be fast food. It is supposed to be thoughtful, balanced, and prepared with care. The first bite usually tells the whole story. The rice feels wrong, warm in a way that makes you suspicious. It does not have the light, delicate seasoning of good sushi rice. Instead, it clumps together heavy and sticky like glue. The fish often has that dull, fridge-burn taste that comes from being prepped hours before you ever ordered it. And the vegetables? Instead of fresh crunch, they show up limp and watery, like they gave up before they even made it to your plate. Even worse, the texture feels off. Soft where it should be firm, soggy where it should be crisp. You cannot help but feel like the entire meal was reheated instead of freshly prepared. And that is because, in many cases, it is. Chains that move this quickly often rely on pre-assembled rolls that are stored until an order comes in. A quick zap, a splash of sauce, and out it goes. Price-wise, Shogun Express Sushi sits in that middle range where you think you are getting value. A roll will cost you between $8 and $12, maybe more for a specialty item. On paper, that looks fine. But when the meal leaves you with regret, even $10 feels like too much. Think about it. You could have spent the same money on something freshly made at a small local spot and walked away happier. The saddest part is what this does to newcomers. For many people, Shogun Express Sushi might be their very first experience with sushi. Instead of learning that sushi can be light, fresh, and delicious, they get stuck thinking it is heavy, bland, and disappointing. That kind of introduction can turn someone away from sushi for years. To be fair, the one advantage here is speed. If you are truly in a rush and only care about filling your stomach, Shogun Express Sushi gets the job done. But it is like drinking instant coffee when you could have had a carefully brewed cup. It works, but it does not satisfy. So here is the truth. Shogun Express Sushi proves that faster is not always better. Sometimes waiting an extra 10 minutes is the difference between a meal worth remembering and a meal you wish you could forget. Have you ever chosen fast food sushi and ended up regretting it before the meal was even over? Turning the mood around, here's a chain that celebrates simplicity with melt-in-your-mouth salmon, Sugarfish. At Sugarfish, the first thing you notice is how calm and uncluttered everything feels. The menu is not packed with 50 different roll names or endless gimmicks. Instead, you choose from a few set menus, and each one delivers a steady flow of fresh, clean, and simple sushi. No frills, no flash, just the essentials done right. The rice at Sugarfish is warm, perfectly seasoned, and soft without being sticky. Each grain feels separate, lightly kissed with vinegar, and it holds the fish gently instead of overwhelming it. The fish itself is buttery, delicate, and handled with respect. When you eat salmon here, it melts in your mouth. When you eat tuna, it feels light, clean, and refreshing. There is no need for a rainbow of toppings or flashy sauces. The fish speaks for itself. The atmosphere is part of the magic. Sugarfish restaurants are modern but understated, with lighting that feels warm and service that feels steady and unhurried. You are not rushed, and you are not distracted by noise or chaos. Instead, the focus is on the food in front of you. The moment you sit down, you know this is going to be different from other chains. It is the kind of sushi that reminds you why this cuisine became beloved in the first place. Simple ingredients, treated with care, can outshine any flashy gimmick. And that is exactly what Sugarfish delivers. It feels honest, and in today's world of over-the-top food, that honesty is refreshing. Price-wise, Sugarfish is not cheap. Expect to spend around $20 to $30 for a set meal. But here's the difference. When you leave, you feel like it was worth it. You are satisfied, not stuffed, and you walk away with a sense that you just experienced sushi as it should be. Compared to paying $15 for a disappointing roll at a flashier chain, this feels like money well spent. What also sets Sugarfish apart is its consistency. Whether you are in Los Angeles, New York, or another city where they operate, the quality holds up. That makes it a reliable choice, especially for people who want to enjoy sushi without worrying about being let down. For newcomers, Sugarfish is the perfect introduction to sushi. It is straightforward and approachable without overwhelming choices or confusing gimmicks. For experienced sushi lovers, it is a reminder that quality matters more than show. Either way, it is the kind of place that earns loyalty because it delivers on its promise every time. So while many chains chase attention with giant rolls and overloaded sauces, Sugarfish quietly proves that tradition still wins. It is not loud, it is not trendy, but it is consistently delicious. Do you prefer a simple, honest plate of sushi done right, or do you get tempted by wild rolls loaded with sauces and toppings? And finally, ending on a high note, the conveyor belt favorite that feels like a jackpot with every plate, Kura Revolving Sushi Bar. Few dining experiences are as playful as sitting at a table while plate after plate of sushi drifts by on a moving belt. At Kura, that is exactly what you get. Each plate feels like a little gift sliding past your table, and you get to decide which one you want to claim. It is fun, interactive, and perfect for families or groups of friends. The best part is that the fun does not come at the cost of quality. The fish is chilled, fresh, and cut well enough to satisfy both casual diners and people who know their sushi. The rice is properly seasoned with the right texture and balance. You can try everything from classic salmon rolls to creative plates with just enough flair to keep it interesting, but without losing the respect for tradition. It is this balance of affordability and consistency that makes people keep coming back. Few chains manage to mix fun with freshness quite like Kura does. Plates are priced at only a few dollars each, so you control exactly how much you spend. Want a light meal? Grab a few plates. Feeling adventurous? Try a dozen. Either way, you leave satisfied without breaking the bank. Another strength of Kura is the freshness system. Plates are tracked by time, and anything that sits too long is automatically removed. That means you do not have to worry about eating sushi that has been circling the room for hours. It is a simple system, but it works beautifully. Families especially love Kura because of the little surprises. Some locations even offer rewards when you eat a certain number of plates, turning the meal into a lighthearted challenge. It is part dining, part entertainment, and it makes the experience memorable in a way that most sushi chains cannot match. The atmosphere is casual, approachable, and welcoming. You do not need to be an expert in sushi to enjoy Kura. It is a place where kids can have fun, adults can relax, and everyone leaves with a smile. And unlike buffets, where quality takes a back seat to quantity, Kura finds a way to give you both. In the end, Kura Revolving Sushi Bar proves that sushi can be playful without being careless. It shows that a chain can provide value, fun, and freshness all at once. Would you enjoy sushi more if every meal felt like an experience rather than just another dinner? And that wraps it up. Now I want to hear your sushi stories in the comments, so share your best bite or worst regret, tap that like button if you had fun rolling with us, and subscribe to the hidden menu so you never miss the next plate.
And remember, the truth is not always on the menu.